friends, how you doing? It's lovely to be here. Friends, I think you can all hear me. I hope you can all hear me, and you should all be able to hear Paige. Maybe. Friends, this who knows? Hiya, hi pals. If you are been under a rock for the last God knows how long, Paige, would you do me the very, very deepest honor of introducing yourself for the lovely folks in chat, please?
Of course. Hi everyone, I'm Paige. You may or may not know that, but I am Special Effects Gaming Community Manager. I have been a community manager in the games industry for a number of years. It's just how Psykit and I initially met. And I am very much just an all-around nerd. So very, very many games. My audio may be low because I'm currently sat in the sciatica chair. I'll explain that in a moment. Hopefully that's a little bit better.
And you sat down because I just turned you up.
We'll figure it out. I want to be the loudest person on Twitch. But yes, I'm gaming community manager. Essentially, my role is working with folks like psykit, streamers, creators, YouTubers, musicians sometimes, bakers other times, all sorts of strange things. But basically, whenever anything nerdy is about, it's when I get called in to handle it.
Nice. Amazing. Incredible. Paige, anybody who also might be under a rock, what is Special Effect? Tell us about Special Effect.
I will do. So, Special Effects, we're a UK-based charity that works to level the playing field for folks with physical disabilities. Essentially what that means is through technology, we try to get rid of the barrier that is exclusion, that is inaccessibility. So we might do that in a number of ways. The thing that we're most often known for is what might be termed as loan library. Essentially, folks who want to access games, but potentially can't afford the gear to do so, don't know exactly what gear they're going to need, have changing circumstances with physical disability. They can come to us and completely free of charge, we will work one-on-one with them to get them set up with the perfect physical setup for them to play. Whether that means that they're using eye gaze systems, whether they're using voice scripts, whether they're using an Xbox controller, which just needs some slight adaptations. Whatever somebody needs to be able to game, we will make sure that they have it, and we will go from there.
Amazing. Very quickly, hi Cuppy, thank you so much for bringing your folks over. I very, very much appreciate it. Welcome on in. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name's Clare. I play space games and story games, and I cry a lot on stream. I'm also a broken person with bad hands and things that don't work. And that is perfectly fine. I should clarify, it's a perfectly fine thing to be. And we're here today having a chat with the absolutely beautiful, wonderful Paige from Special Effect to talk all things Special Effect, because if you didn't know, Game Blast is coming up this weekend, which is a wonderful fundraiser, big push from Special Effect all over the weekend, of doing incredible stuff in gaming and trying to raise a lot of money for Special Effect. With regard to Game Blast, has Game Blast always been a thing with Special Effect? I feel like I'm stepping ahead in questions here, but I feel like we're in the perfect segue for it because I've just mentioned it. How did Game Blast sort of like come to fruition?
So Game Blast is a bit before my time, really, but I think Game Blast started about 11 years ago. The charity's been going for just about 17. Mm-hmm. I think essentially came about because we had a really good relationship with stores like Game, which was, initially a lot more into the retro and things like that before it was a lot more about merch and stuff like that. And so we ended up with a lot of friends who were, forerunning in sort of streaming and video creation and stuff like that. And so it's, well, as far as I understand, seemed like the cool new thing to do. And so my team took it and ran with it. I've been running Game Blast. I think this is my 4th year running the event. It's essentially a big weekend at the end of February, although we'll get to the weekend part in a minute, at the end of February, where we invite folks all over the internet who like what we do, helping people access gaming, access technology, access community and family, to do what they normally do, but do it as a charity fundraiser. So over this sort of entire month of February, you will see folks. You'll see like the Warframe team coming together. So they've, for the very first year, they've opened up a public fundraising team for Game Blast, so people that play Warframe can join in. You'll see that with the Rare team. You'll see that with the Sega team. You'll also see like individual groups coming together. You'll see people like Psykit putting together space themed things. You'll see podcasts and bake-offs and all sorts of incredible, wonderful things. Over the weekend of Game Blast, there is not a single second without a Game Blast stream live, which is incredible, and people all over the world sort of join in, and you've got a stream exclusive here.
Oh, easy.
easy. I have spent the entirety of today editing a video that we will be releasing this week as soon as I finish it and have not lost my mind, because last week we were visited at the special effects offices by the wonderful Doug Cockle, who voices Geralt of Rivia. We had Up Is Not Jump with us, the YouTuber, absolutely wonderful humour Matt. And then we have the lovely Kit Harrison, who, if you've ever played a Frontier Developments game, you are to thank for a lot of the QA stuff, because Kit is incredible. But Kit is also a voice actor, so I had lovely people come and join me. And we did a whole day of chaotic gaming, PvP, an eye-controlled version of Witcher 3, and a
eye-controlled version.
Oh yes, we'll talk about that in a minute. And a blooper reel I'm currently working on, because you put those three in the room, Matt, Kit, and Doug, and they scream about feet for about half an hour. So I'm going to work on a blooper reel, and if we hit the fundraising goal of 150 grand, I will release it.
Amazing. You heard it here first,
there
folks. Incredible, actually incredible. Okay, yeah, no, good.
Yeah.
Good choice. Let's wow, okay, incredible. So last year I was very, very lucky. I think it was, I can't remember when it was in the year, probably like around August time. But last year I was invited up to Dundee to go and speak with Hyperluminal Games and actually have a look at some of their adaptive controller settings that they had. And they said that they worked quite closely with Special Effect in getting that all set up. So it was really nice to see the work that Special Effect does, not in just like helping folks, but also, I saw a cat then, but also in helping like games make their stuff more accessible to everyone. And we have personally spoke about accessibility quite a lot, like off stream and in various different places. How much of Special Effects work do you think it is? What sort of like ratio is it of like working with video game companies to working with individuals?
It's a very good question that's difficult to answer, not because I don't want to, but because, so our team is only about 30 strong, but we each have loads of different responsibilities. So for a week, it might be somebody's job 100% of the time to work with a game dev, whereas then the next week they're off helping somebody access a game. But I will say we are always busy. Essentially, it's not something I end up working on too much, but I can definitely try and find some more specific information. But there are lots of games that we've been like very honoured to work on. Normally how it works is we've been working with physically disabled folks for nearly 2 decades. And that's given us lots of knowledge and lots of answers to questions that have only just recently started to be asked. So we try and make that information, again, for free, available to whoever needs it. So yes, it might be that something like Sea of Thieves reaches out and says, we're trying to add this new feature. We try and do as much accessibility as possible. Could you guys help out? And if we got the time, of course, hell yeah, we'd love to, because that then goes on and helps more folks access the games. It's just that simple. Same as for folks who may not want to approach us one-on-one, we also have the dev kit, the Special Effect dev kit, which was made by our team after they went and worked with game developers and disabled gamers. They ended up creating a free resource for any game developer who wants to improve motor accessibility in their games. So yes, we do occasionally have companies reach out to console. It might be that somebody's just got a question, or it might be that, you know, a first-time indie dev goes onto our website and just uses what's there to try and, you know, add some extra accessibility into their first title.
Yeah, that is, and again, thank you for the question, Katie. And it's so, it is so bloody cool that Special Effect has that sort of like reach as well. and this isn't like special effects don't just work with people with in the UK, because I was watching, I'm going to say right now, I was watching when they got given the BAFTA.
Yeah, the casual BAFTA.
I was watching when special effects got given the BAFTA, and in the preview, in the red carpet thing that they were talking about, they were saying that not only do they work predominantly, obviously, because they're based in the UK, but they're available for consultation with, if you're anywhere. There's no real, it's just so cool.
Yeah, we don't like to say no. That's the thing. Like, if we genuinely couldn't help somebody for some reason, or, you know, if somebody's in America, we probably couldn't send them out a physical setup because we wouldn't be able to get it back to make the tweaks that we need to do as quickly. I mean, it can sometimes be as simple as the electricity sort of plugs are different. So we'd have to have our whole American stock of stuff, which with costs going up on every bit of equipment just isn't feasible, unfortunately. So while a lot of our physical assistance is available mainly in the UK, as you said, if somebody's got a question, we will always do our best to answer it. And if we could not answer it, we would have a list of resources in other countries and say, have you tried?
Yeah.
Like, have you gone and spoken to them? Because they're super cool as well.
Yeah.
Or again, websites. We have a website called Game Access, which, when the team isn't busy creating individual setups or working on other games and things like that, they are often looking at new releases of games or new releases of technology and going through and making a very matter-of-fact, no bias, this is what accessibility is in this thing, this is how much it costs, here is how you could use it. So disabled folk across the world, before, you know, spending anywhere between 50 and 100 quid on a game, could see, does this look like it would work for me if I gave it a go?
That's really cool. That's so cool. I love that so much. What was it that, how did you get involved with special effects? I'm going personal on our page. What was it for you that drew you to special effects, and what was the thing that got you involved with it initially?
Yeah, so I was 19 when I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. And since then, conditions have only gotten worse and such like that. So I've been disabled sort of with a label on it since I was 19. And when I was 23, I started working at Frontier Developments, working in customer support. And I'd heard the name special effects as a thing that the company did helped occasionally, but didn't know really was much. And then I moved into the community management team, where we ended up helping out with fundraisers and with events like Game Blast. And so I became much more aware of the charity and the work that they did. And that's when I realized, oh, this is a charity that helps disabled folk for free. This is something I really should be aware of, because maybe I'm going to need it one day. And also, it would be like, I can afford a new controller if I need to buy one. But there's a bunch of people that could not afford that controller, especially if they need any adaptations. It's just not going to be something they can do. When you've got to choose between entertainment and food, you pick food. So it was one of the things that, with me starting, you know, with my brain developing properly and starting to realize there was more of a world out there that I needed to understand, I started doing fundraisers for special effects. I became an ambassador for special effects. And then I left the games industry to go into content creation myself, because I wanted to try it for 3 months and then get into a new job. And then lockdowns hit and I was out of a job for 2.5 years. So I went into full-time content creation and a lot more advocacy and awareness work. But I stayed in touch with special effects, because obviously when you're a charity that helps disabled folk, when there's a huge mass disabling event, that's a busy time for a lot of folks, and trying to pivot your entire, you know, they had to pivot from doing everything in person to, we have to learn how to do this online and now, because people still need our help. And it was that time that the wonderful Becky Frost was pregnant and needed maternity cover. And I got a message one day from one of my now colleagues saying, Paige, there's a job and it's in social media and you used to do that. Do you think you'd want to apply? And I'm like, I don't. And then the next day I did, and bada bing, bada boom. I've been here for 4 years now.
Yeah, well, that's an amazing amount of maternity cover that you had to do.
It was. It lasted forever. No.
That's really good.
I was too much of a nerd to let go. So.
And it's really good, and I genuinely can't think of of like a better, and this is going to sound so saccharine, I can't think of a better position for you as far as like a mix of a person and a company. I just think it's like ideal for you, and I'm super pleased for you. Of the work, I don't want that to sound disingenuous because I genuinely do mean it. Of the stuff that you've done with special effect, and I know you've done like a shit ton of stuff, and it's cool and it's very amazing. Is there anything that you can think of, either from I'm going to say from like the accessibility standpoint, anything that you've done in your time at special effect that really stands out to you?
Ooh. So me personally, I'm not part of the team that ends up doing these incredible in-person things. On a personal note, what I did do, sort of accessibly wise, is through one of my lovely friends that I met through Game Blast, Carolyn Wendt. Ended up writing a book with her. I gave one chapter, just on accessible communications in sort of gaming and game dev. So that was one of the things that, through learning more about, communities, disabled communities and intersectional communities, that was something I got to be part of, like, just because it sort of fit with the work that I do, trying to make the communications accessible as well. But very much because special effects is so small, we work with a lot of folk. I think one of the coolest things that we all sort of pitched in to do, there was a young boy called Olkan, and Olkan essentially, as far as I can remember the details, because I have ADHD, I believe had a blood cancer and ended up essentially needed, transfusions and things like that. And for a while, I believe it was fairly rough, with not being able to get what he needed. In the end, yes, he was able to get the treatment that he needed, but then we were able to, via what's called a bubble buster robot, a little sort of remote accessibility robot, able to take him down to St. George's Park to hang out with his favourite footballers. And it was just so cool to see like the grin on this kid's face, getting to do the stuff that he loved, and all of them knew his name and knew his story. And it's getting to make connections like that. I think that is the favourite part of my job. It's getting to sort of take the hobby that we love and turn it into life-changing moments for people, even when that looks mundane to others. Like, the concept of jumping on a game, a multiplayer game, and a Discord call, for most people is pretty banal. But if you're on a respirator and normally play lying down, and you don't often have much time to go out and reach out to other people and hang out, if you then get to do that with other people, because we've done work to try and say, hey, look, inclusion is excellent, then that makes me so happy. And yes, I'm talking about a specific person there, the lovely Lucy, who you might see a bit more about Game Blast.
Amazing. There's something really special. I think that a pre-lockdown era wouldn't recognize how important an online communication thing is. But the idea of that being taken away for, I think, a lot of people now would be very very harrowing. Well, it certainly would be for me, not just from this kind of thing, but if there was a long time when I was bedridden myself, and not having, this is a before lockdown thing, and also then not having access to being able to message people or like having those contacts and stuff. I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like. You mentioned the little robot with the face cam, because you've used that at conventions as well, haven't you? When you've not, is that right?
So I've used the grown-up version of it, essentially, but the more boring version of that. But yeah, I can tell you about both of those and a little bit about one of our other projects we don't get to talk about much, and I'll explain why. So one of the other sides of special effects work that we don't talk about as much, simply because a lot of the people utilising this program want more privacy at that point in their lives. Yeah. So this is the work that we do around a lot more inclusion. So the Bubble Buster is a little white robot. If you were in a similar generation to me, you'll remember there were these little like MP3 dogs that had light up faces and flashy ears. It reminds me of that every time I see it. It's a very similar sort of like plastic shell and LED face, so it's very heartwarming every time I see one. But essentially, it is what Psykit and I are doing now. It's audio and visual. It works one way for the kid that's using it, so they can see out. But they're often used for kids undergoing things like immunotherapy or cancer treatment. So you probably don't want a camera on you all day, every day, while you're dealing with all of that. So the way it works is a kid will receive a tablet that connects to what's called their bubble buster. A lot of them will give them names. So we've had like the Arty bot and things like that. They'll normally decorate their bubble buster as well. So they each go out with a set of stickers so that you can decorate them. We've had pandas, and apparently eyelashes have been very popular recently. So we've had to keep cutting out more eyelashes to send those to kids. But it will go where the child would go, where it's safe for them to. So it will go to school, because although we might think, oh, people get to go off school, that's great. Not when you're off for 6 months.
Yeah.
Not when you end up behind your peers. Not when you can't enjoy the community aspect of school, going out on the playground or getting lunch together. So wherever the child will go, this robot goes instead. Over lockdown, families would take the robot home and put it on the dining table so they could continue to have dinner together while the child was alone in hospital. And that robot is given to the kid for however long they need it. It's normally a couple of years until treatment's complete. And then they return it to us, we clean it all up, and it goes out to find another kid who needs it. So that's one of the programs. The bigger brother version of that is called the Double 3. The Double 3 is essentially, I call it Zoom on a stick. It's an iPad on a stick with a gyro and wheels. And it's what I use occasionally to visit the office or to go to things like Insomnia when that was a thing. But essentially it allows you via a sort of point and click interface, or you can use a control pad, or you can use switches, that kind of thing, to move yourself around an environment. So a step up from the Bubble Buster, which is stationary, using the Double 3, you can move yourself around your environment. So I will sometimes do tours of the office with guests via a Double 3 robot, because it takes 8 hours for me to get to the office, which isn't fun.
Not ideal, no.
Yes. So that one is seen left often, but it's the kind of thing you might use in like a university environment where you need to be more interactive with your peers. You need to be able to see them, they need to be able to see you, that kind of thing. And the third project of that ilk is what's called Stargaze. Now, this is the project we don't get to talk about as much, because every story that Special Effect puts out is with the consent of the person that we are featuring. So if they say, no, I don't want you to tell my story, we will not tell their story. As such, that's why it can be like, it's been a while since they put something out. It's like, people said no, they said no. It's just that simple. So Stargaze is our sort of program for people that are critically ill, whether they have, to put it bluntly, been hit by a car and ended up in a very serious circumstance. Somebody may have had a stroke, they may have a degenerative illness, that basically anything which causes you to lose a lot of motor function, potentially the ability to speak, the ability to move. The Stargaze team will set up eye tracking computers, as it were, with a person in a hospital, usually liaising with the hospital, but that can then be moved to their home afterwards. And it will be set up very simply so that a person who potentially cannot move or ask for anything can communicate with their loved ones. They can go onto YouTube and just put on a video they find funny. They might play some eye control chess just to keep their mind active. They could go on WhatsApp and receive pictures of their kid's puppy. You know, it's just reclaiming what little bit of autonomy that you have left to you until the point that you start gaining back your other functions, or if you don't, that you can continue to have those functions. So as I say, we don't get to show that one as much because many people in a hospital bed, potentially quite ill, don't particularly want their face blasted all over the internet. But 100%. There are a number of stories from them. One of them actually went on to be a trustee for the charity, Rob Cam. If you go on our website, specialeffect.org.uk, you can look up Rob's story all the way from the time that he was in an accident and essentially was helped by the Stargaze team to he's now a lawyer and a trustee for Special Effect. It's
oh my gosh, cool. That's so cool. That's so cool. And especially there's a beauty, is beauty the right word? I'm going to use it. There's a beauty in being able to help people in their darkest times as well. Yeah. That is really, really stunning and beautiful. And long may these fundraisers continue with Special Effect. And long may there be lots of wonderful people that get involved. Speaking, oh God, I hate the way that I do segues.
Segue.
Speaking of a special effect, and speaking of special effect, we've been talking about it all this time. Speaking of like the fundraisers you've done with things that you need, I don't have it yet. I'm so bad, Paige. I'm so bad. I do have a link. I do have a link.
I've got a link as well. I'll get mine.
I'm going to get a link right now.
All right,
we're going to fight it. Katie, get me the link.
I mean, while you're getting a link, I do have one more point to add. Just on
please
what you said about fundraisers. The one thing that I find very powerful about special effects, and the one of the ways that, or reasons that I love working in specifically our fundraising communications team, special effects support, no matter what project you're asking for, is free. Completely free, always free, for life free, because if it wasn't, it would not be accessible. And as we all know, with the cost of living crisis, people would have to choose between entertainment and food, or heating, or clothes for their kids. And in that, you are never going to pick the entertainment. You are just not. But that doesn't mean that people should not be allowed to have some enjoyment for themselves.
100%.
So, as part of special effects, I am always super honoured that we can help people. So if anyone ever comes to us and says, I don't need it as much as somebody else, but you need it. It's just that simple. So when people help us, when people donate, when people support us, we can help more people. And obviously, cost of living crisis, all of the items that we use to help folk have gone up in price. Some have doubled in price, but we're not going to start giving people gear that might not be as good for them because it's more expensive. It's just when we need to be very honest and say, folks, help us raise money, because we don't receive governmental grants or anything like that. The money that we have to do what we do comes from fundraisers, streamers, creators, trusts, that kind of thing. Folk who are being incredibly generous and choose to help others be able to access this hobby that we all love. So, and I mean, a massive thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to you, Psykit. A lot of people go, oh, I'm just doing a stream. But it's like, no, you gave us your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get that back. You can always make more money, but you can't get time back. So I'm always super appreciative of the time people spend with us. And
I think it's also really important that while there are like massive fundraisers and there are people who will raise a shit ton of money and like a load of money. Also, if your goal is to make 50 quid for special effect, that's also just so incredible that you've put that effort into creating content or creating something where you make that money. While it is wonderful to make a lot of money for an amazing charity, like anything is incredible and wonderful. So if you're going, oh, I don't know if I can because I don't think I'm going to make enough money, please just consider just doing it, especially if you're going to be streaming anyway. You know what I mean?
I mean, the stuff that special effect tends to need is normally fairly on the inexpensive side. And by that, I mean, one of the things people don't often consider much, I didn't even consider it until I talked to Colo last year, was one of the things that special effect does is door-to-door delivery. So if we make a setup for somebody, it will be picked up from the special effect office once it's all packaged up, and sent directly to the door of the person that needs it. So you don't need to go out to a post office and pick it up or pay a delivery fee or anything like that. No, we'll have a courier bring it to you so you can get it nice and easily. And that normally costs about 25 quid. But if that person then says, oh, this setup didn't work, they then do not need to box it all up and drive to somewhere and post it back and pay. No, we will pay for that delivery again, or that return via courier. So the person, all they have to do is shove it back in the box they got it from, do it up as best they can, and give it to somebody else to do the legwork. Because while it might say, oh, but they could, no, not everyone has access to a car. Not everyone has access to working limbs all of the time. Not everyone has the money to afford to post something back to a company, which is a lot of the reason why people couldn't just buy a new controller to try out or just buy a new game to see if it works for them. So you make 50 quid, that pays for us to get and receive kits from people in the most accessible way possible so they can actually try out this hobby that we love.
That's like it is couriers are a lot of money, but it's not like a vast amount of money, and anything that is anything like that is so beneficial. Just If you can and you are able to donate to Special Effect, I have put up there are links in chat for you to do so. There will be a link in the description to do so as well. We very much appreciate anything that you can if you are fiscally able to be able to support, and only do it if you are financially able to, because times is hard and we do appreciate that. But I do appreciate it. I personally will be streaming all weekend. I'm hoping to raise it. We have a couple of lovely Elite Dangerous commanders. Frontier have sent me so much stuff to give away. You've got no idea. So cool. You got no idea. I definitely didn't guilt trip Kat into it or anything along those lines. It wasn't me. What was it? And it wasn't guilt. It was just not responding to an email and me going, hello. She was like, oh shit. And then sent me a lot of stuff, which was very, very nice of her.
Very kind.
From a personal view for you, I know you were saying earlier you've been editing a video where you've worked with Up As Not Jump, Doug Tockle and Kit for and been doing stuff in the special effects offices with them. Is there a personal highlight of something that you've done for special effect, like working with other people? Is there anything that sort of stands out as being, oh, that was pretty cool? I'm so glad I got to do that.
Oh no, I mean, I've definitely got a bucket list still. I've got ideas, but I think one of the coolest things I personally got to do was last year I got to work with a couple of icons of mine for a Baldur's Gate 3 stream for Game Blast. So it was myself, Samantha Bayer, who is an absolute monarch. I love them so much. Alex Jordan, who is potentially one of the funniest humans I have ever met. And has the cutest dog. And then Chelsea Rebecca, who not everyone in the UK has known, but Chelsea is part of the YouTube channel Dead Meat. They review horror stuff. I won't just say movies, because they've moved on to games and things like that as well. And it was just, I've never been in a stream with that much talent, that many people just able on the fly to start acting and role playing, and I'm just there like, why am I here? I'm here, but I don't know why. It was absolutely astounding, and that, you know, especially with Chelsea, who I've since been able to talk to a little bit, who's just one of the most wonderful people. It's so lovely when I get to bring some of my weirdness into the things that we do. It's like, I love horror. This isn't a horror event, but it doesn't matter. Let's bring them in and go from there. And it's sort of led to the creation of our October Halloween fundraiser. So we have the special effects Scream team every October now, which is very, very little, but it's growing each year. Just more folks that enjoy doing spoopy things, getting to do them for charity. So it's sort of led to us growing some silly little things that we get to do at other points in the year.
Amazing. That's really cool. So are there any events that after Game Blast, and I know this is wild, but is there anything during Game Blast that you're particularly looking forward to or that you're getting involved in? I know you're doing Phasmophobia later with the Phasmophobia devs.
I am.
Which I will be watching because it scares me, so why not? I'll be watching until Lave starts, but I'll be watching. I'll be checking out that. Is there anything that you're particularly looking forward to getting involved in this weekend, firstly? And then the follow-up question, is there anything that's coming up in the not too distant future or in the following year that you already have planned and you might be able to give us a sneak peek on that you're also looking forward to?
Yep, absolutely, on both. So I think what you've mentioned there, the Phasmophobia stuff, we have two Phasmophobia streams. So we have one tonight and one tomorrow night.
Amazing.
Both of which the Kinetic devs are going to be joining in for, but both with different groups. So tonight's is with Jay Britton and Kit Harrison, both voice actors, because essentially I went onto Jay's stream a little while ago, and if you've ever played Elite Dangerous, you have heard Jay's voice, and if you've ever heard about Commander Michael Holyland, you will definitely have heard about Jay, who ended up voicing the role of Michael in the audiobook that was made. But Jay is a very, very funny voice actor. Kit is just a fantastic improviser. And so they will both be joining us for some voice acting challenges. So you can donate during the stream and you might activate Actually, which is where we will ask one of them to put on their most irritating voice and try and actually the ghost into hunting them.
Amazing. I love that.
Or where every time you donate, Jay has to switch accent and stay in that accent until it is donated to again. So I don't know what he'll be stuck in, but it could be hilarious. Try and get him to do Welsh. That made me laugh last time I tried.
Wild.
It's all sort of fun things like that. And then tomorrow, one that I'm really excited about. So again, myself, the Kinetic devs, and then we are joined by two, I guess what could be called service users, people that have asked Special Effect for help in the past. So we'll be joined by Lucy and by Sam, who have joined us in the past for some different games. But it's just, we've got 3 disabled folk playing and then a dev. I don't know if they are disabled. I will ask them while we're there. But it's just absolutely wonderful to get to bring a game dev in and say, hey, can we bring a load of disabled folk to play your game? They're like, yeah, sounds great. Like, sounds brilliant. Yeah, of course you can. I was like, what if they have feedback? They're like, we would love the feedback. That'd be great. I'm like, oh, yes, Kinetic Games.
Oh,
that's
yes.
so lovely. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So if the game doesn't have all of the things that my disabled comrades need to be able to play and they give feedback, I'd love to know that they'll just take that feedback. That's great. I love to hear it. We love to hear people doing new things and better things. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm very excited about that, getting to hang out with just some very cool devs for some very cool things. And then later in the year, we already have 2 other streaming events planned. So one in July, which is Disability Pride Month, is our event 10K Your Way, which is where we ask people to set their own challenges around the idea of 10K. Last year, I really wanted to get a bunch of Elite Dangerous Commanders to do an expedition, so maybe we'll poke the Elite community.
Don't talk to me about, I don't want to do exploration. Don't make me do exploration because it's for charity.
Don't you want to take pretty screenshots of blue and orange things?
No, I want to do colonization until it comes out of my eyes.
Okay, well, can you get a blue laser and an orange laser and shoot things with those? But yes, we've got the event themed. You could blow up 10,000 things. There you go. That would work. Fantastic. Perfect. Everyone else.
We need a counter for killing 10,000 NPCs. I'm down.
There you go. During the month of July, 10,000. Kill 10,000 things. That's the thing.
That's one stream. That's one stream.
Done. Make your own challenge. That's what that event very much is. So
oh my god, I'm so on board.
It's around the same time as the London 10K, so if you wanted to do something physical, you are welcome to. A walk, a run, cycle, swim, whatever you like. But we also opened it up to gaming and to streaming as well, because that's more accessible. Folks can't always get out and do those things. So we've opened it up to gaming challenges too, so people can join in whichever way works best for them. Speed runs, kills in game, collecting money. Depends what you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't really try and do 10,000 stars in Mario Party. You will go mad. So don't do that. And then, of course, my little baby that's still growing. But in October, we will have the 3rd year of the Special Effects Scream team, which I always try and put together some fun sort of cooperative things. And I don't know, maybe I'll poke the Phasmophobia devs to do more if I haven't scarred them over the next few days with some terrible gameplay.
I wonder if you know anyone who might be interested in doing maybe like a spooky D&D session or something. That might be cool.
I couldn't say. I don't know what, my dice bag is downstairs.
That might be cool. I wonder if anybody has like 6 or 7 different one-shots lined up that could be accommodated with that. I wonder.
I wonder, but I mean, I loved basically the weird the idea. I love to hear it. So it's almost like Halloween D&D one shot. It's like, yeah, that sounds amazing. What's that? You want to release a metal album? Sounds brilliant. Go for it. You're gonna bake 12 cakes.
Okay.
Don't be wasting food, but I'm glad to hear it. Like, have fun. That's what I love to hear.
The stream tonight's at 7?
6 till 8.
So I'm an hour behind already.
That's okay. Oh, just noticed the cat is asleep there. You can kind of see him.
Cutie patootie.
He's a little puzzle.
That's just a special effect team. Is that the channel name? Special effect team? Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
I know what I'm doing.
Katie, you could bake some horror-themed cakes if you really wanted to. You could carve some special effect pumpkins. It's really very much, when it comes to special effect fundraising, it's what do you like to do? Cool, do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, what do you not like to do in the case of Colo? Accordion music? Cool, do that. Dress up a cow? Yeah, do that. Play a horror game? Do that. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, do it. Like, I'm not a huge cozy game player, but if somebody was like, make that like a charity goal, I'd be like, Yeah, I guess I could play some cozy games if you really want me to. I'll be sat there like Doom Guy the whole time, like, come on. But, you know, it's fun. It's just having fun so that other people can have fun.
Yeah, having fun and raising as much as you can for an incredible charity. We do. There's a fair amount of stuff that we do over the year that is always with special effect in mind, especially the Elite Dangerous community. We do a lot of stuff like that because we did ECM last year. And
Yes.
PitCon does it, and you did. You complimented us, and I was so happy with this because I came onto like the team on ECM quite late last year. As in, I just came and sat down and started doing shit to help Chris out, and that's when I sort of like came onto the team. But there was a lot of talk about making sure that you felt comfortable and you felt included with everything, and you really and the feedback that you gave us back from it, saying that you did feel included. For those of you who don't know, we had Paige on like a TV screen at the back of the room, and Paige was playing Gang Beasts with everyone. And occasionally we'd put it on the main screen, and then we'd move Paige around when we needed to, and those kind of stuff. And it was just great, and it was brilliant that we could afford that sort of like accessibility for you. And that wasn't something that really, honestly, wasn't something that I'd ever considered before, was being able to have you remotely there to be able to not only just discuss but just to enjoy the event, and then getting that feedback back. I don't know where I'm going with the question about this, but I'm just really excited that the feedback that you provided to us was so well. It's just so heartening that you enjoyed yourself as part of it, because I do worry about things like that, and the fact that those kind of things can be so can be accessible for people who aren't there. And I'd love to see if we can do more of that with ECM, with the virtual things. Hopefully this year with ECM, if Dave's not already reached out to you, I will make sure that he gets on that and we get something involved, because that was really, really cool. I'm just trying to think of what other questions that I have. Your Scream team is a full month, and Game Blast, while it is the full month of March, it does focus on a weekend. February. I'm a month ahead now. Jesus.
Yeah,
well, it is the whole of February, but it does sort of like, you do focus on that weekend. Do you feel like there is a merit to focusing on a weekend or stretching it over the month? What is the pros and cons of just focusing on like a particular weekend?
So it very much, the reason we allow people to do it all month is because not everyone has the same time zone. Lots of people have, some people have full-time jobs, some people have multiple jobs, some people stream full-time, some don't, some do it as a hobby. So very much we wanted firstly to accommodate everyone again. Plus there are folk that would say, I'd love to do it that weekend, but I actually have medical treatment booked, so I can't join in. It's like, you can just do it the following week if you'd really like. So that's sort of one of the things we wanted to make sure it was inclusive. The thing with it being the one weekend is I am also a person, and I am a disabled person. So when it comes to the weekend, I can make sure I am available for that entire weekend. Should anyone need me, if I need to appear on live streams, if anyone's got questions, if anything breaks, you know, if there's any kind of emergency that needs to be dealt with, I can make sure I'm there. But I wouldn't be able to do that over the entire month. So if you're looking sort of for a more one-on-one assistance sort of setup, or you're looking to have volunteers or potentially myself come and drop in on the stream and see how you're doing, that's something we can realistically only do during the weekend, because we have to plan everybody, including our volunteers' work time around it, and our own personal health we have to consider. Whereas, you know, sort of over the month, I'd say if you know what you're doing, you're confident, feel free to go literally whenever you need, whenever you want to. If you would like a little more assistance, to go with the weekend of Game Blast, because you're going to have a lot more time to prepare, and then there'll be a lot more people on hand should anything go wrong and you need a hand. So it's very much a what works best for you.
Yeah, so I think also like from special effects perspective as well, your the weekend gives you that opportunity to, as the company, make sure that you have all like extra resources and all of those things for people ready to go. I want to ask this question. Please tell me if you don't want to, if it's not appropriate to answer. But do you find that you make your charity drive is more successful during a focused weekend or over a month period?
Definitely a focused weekend.
Okay.
Mostly because more people get to support each other. You'll see a lot more raid trains going on. You'll see a lot more people visiting each other. And people will sometimes book out time from their jobs to say, I can't work that weekend. I have a prior engagement. So definitely on the weekend, that is when you see the most streams sort of going ahead. That's when you'll see the most people able to donate, because on a weekend, less potentially people are at their full-time jobs, and so they're able to tune into streams and such like that. But at the same time, over the last year or two, especially with like the Rare team and the Sega teams being behemoths of amazing people who are all over the world getting involved at different times, it's evening out a little bit. It's going to be a tough call in the next few years, I think. But at the moment, that weekend is still just the biggest, busiest time. Yeah,
that's amazing. That is amazing. I think then, Paige, thank you so much for coming and talking to us and having a lovely chat about special effects. I've learned things today, especially about the projects that you don't get to talk about very often, and I love that so incredibly much. Friends, if you're available this weekend, please consider hanging out here or with any stream that is streaming with, I think, #GameBlast25. Have a look for it and go and give them lots of love. Special Effect is an amazing charity, and if you're not aware of what they do, please go and check them out on their website and give them lots of love, because they're amazing. And I know that if I needed them, I know I'd be going to them straight away for that help. And I don't need them yet, but she says with her mangled hands. But it is something in the future, and they've helped so many wonderful people, and they do it all for free with your wonderful donations. Paige, where can people find you online?
Oh, goodness. Well, you'll generally find me wherever you find Special Effect. But if you go to the link tree for Special Effect, you will find all of our social media platforms. If you come over to the Discord, that's where you'll usually find me personally hanging out, because I run our Discord. It's also where you're going to find the schedules for Game Blast 25, so you can go on and check who's available in the time zones that you're in, which is pretty handy, pretty cool. And then, basically wherever. If you want to see us in more places, you can always drop us a line as well. I started working on a subreddit. Don't ask me why I did that. But we might have a subreddit at some point.
Incredible.
I know. Oh, we're very hip, we are. I even made a Tumblr. Don't ask.
Wow.
I know.
In 2025.
We don't have much special effects fan art, but if anyone wants to make some, I will make sure it goes on Tumblr. But yes, we're a bit of everywhere, really.
Incredible. Folks, give Paige lots of love. I'm so grateful that you came and hung out for a little bit today. I'm terrible at sign-offs, but hey. Thanks for being here and being lovely and having this wonderful, lovely chat.